Did you know that beneath the rolling green hills of Yorkshire lies the UK's longest cave system, a subterranean labyrinth hundreds of kilometers long that conceals chasms large enough to swallow entire cathedrals? That its limestone coastline is a Jurassic graveyard so vast that every tide reveals fossils of marine creatures that ruled the planet 180 million years ago? And that the Humber Valley was the epicenter of the Industrial Revolution, forever transforming the world's human geography with the steel and coal mined from its depths? Yorkshire and the Humber is not just a land of meadows and castles. It's the backbone of England, home to industrial giants, and a living monument to the power of nature. Get ready, because today you'll discover 50 incredible facts about Yorkshire and the Humber that will completely change the way you see the untamed and timeless heart of Great Britain. 50. The sovereign scale of the county. Yorkshire is remarkably vast, covering nearly 3 million acres, which makes it the largest traditional county in the United Kingdom. Its scale is so significant that it is larger than many independent nations, including Montenegro or the Bahamas. Historically, the county was divided into 3 ridings because it was considered too large for a single sheriff to manage effectively. This geographical expanse encompasses 2 national parks and a diverse array of landscapes ranging from the industrial heartlands of the south to the desolate beauty of the northern moors. If Yorkshire were to declare independence tomorrow, it would possess a population larger than that of Scotland, reinforcing its status as a significant cultural and geographical entity within Europe. 49. The curvature of the Humber Bridge. The Humber Bridge is a masterpiece of modern engineering that spans the Humber Estuary, connecting the East Riding of Yorkshire with North Lincolnshire. When it opened in 1981, it held the record as the longest single-span suspension bridge in the world. An incredible geographical detail is that its 2 massive concrete towers, which stand 155 meters tall, are not parallel. Because of the sheer length of the span and the curvature of the earth, the towers are actually 36 millimeters further apart at the top than they are at the base. This subtle adjustment ensures structural integrity across the 1.4-mile distance, highlighting how large-scale geography dictates the very precision of British civil engineering. 48. The vanishing coast of Holderness. The Holderness coast in East Yorkshire is notorious for being one of the fastest eroding coastlines in the entire world. Composed of soft, unconsolidated glacial till or boulder clay deposited during the last ice age, the cliffs are remarkably vulnerable to the power of the North Sea. On average, the sea claims approximately 2 meters of land every single year, though some storms can snatch away significant chunks in a single night. Since the Roman era, over 30 villages have been lost to the waves, leaving behind a ghost-like map of former settlements. This relentless process provides a stark example of coastal retreat, forcing residents and authorities to navigate the difficult balance of sea defenses. 47. The wandering finger of Spurn Point. At the southern tip of the Holderness coast lies Spurn Point, a narrow sand and shingle spit that extends nearly 5 kilometers into the Humber Estuary. This unique landform is essentially a moving target. It is created by longshore drift, which carries eroded material from the cliffs further north and deposits it here. Interestingly, Spurn Point is not a permanent fixture in a geographical sense. It undergoes a cyclical process of growth and destruction, having breached and reformed several times throughout history. In recent years, a major storm cut through the neck of the spit, turning it into a tidal island. It continues to shift westwards, mimicking the retreat of the main Yorkshire coastline. 46. The subterranean grandeur of Gaping Gill. On the slopes of Ingleborough lies Gaping Gill, one of the most famous and impressive cave systems in the United Kingdom. The main chamber is so gargantuan that it could easily house the entirety of York Minster, the largest Gothic cathedral in Northern Europe. A stream known as Fell Beck plunges over the lip of the entrance, creating the highest unbroken waterfall in England, falling roughly 100 meters into the darkness below. Geologically, this system is carved from Carboniferous limestone, illustrating the immense power of water erosion over millions of years. For most of the year, this hidden world remains accessible only to experienced cavers, though local clubs offer winch descents for the public. 45. The apex of the Three Peaks. Whernside stands as the highest point in the historical county of Yorkshire, reaching an elevation of 736 meters above sea level. It forms the centerpiece of the famous Yorkshire Three Peaks Challenge, alongside its neighbor Humbers Ingleborough and Penny Ghent. Geologically, Whernside is a massive whale-backed ridge composed of layers of limestone capped with tough millstone grit. From its summit, the geographical views are expansive, stretching across to the Lake District and even the Irish Sea on clear days. Before continuing, don't forget to subscribe and like to keep exploring the strange and incredible geography of our entire country. 44. The ancient pavement of Malham Cove. Malham Cove is a spectacular curved limestone cliff that stands 80 meters high, formed by a massive waterfall during the melting of Ice Age glaciers. Atop this cliff lies a geological marvel known as a limestone pavement. This flat expanse of rock is crisscrossed by deep fissures called grikes, which were dissolved by acidic rainwater over millennia. The resulting blocks of stone are known as clints. This landscape is so otherworldly that it was chosen as a filming location for the Harry Potter film series. Geographically, it sits on the Middle Craven Fault, a major tectonic feature that defines the southern edge of the Yorkshire Dales, where the rugged highlands suddenly give way to the softer lowlands. 43. The purple mantle of the North York Moors. The North York Moors National Park contains one of the largest continuous expanses of heather moorland in England and Wales. This high-altitude plateau situated in the northeast of the region turns a vibrant shade of purple every August as the heather blooms. The geology of the moors is distinct from the limestone dales, being composed primarily of Jurassic sandstones and shales. This acidic soil supports a unique ecosystem that has been managed for centuries through controlled burning, which encourages new growth for sheep and grouse. Deep, narrow valleys known as dales cut through the plateau, providing sheltered locations for ancient woodlands and secluded villages. The moors end abruptly at the sea, forming some of the highest cliffs. 42. The urban forest of Sheffield. Sheffield is often celebrated as the greenest city in Europe, boasting a geographical profile that includes more trees per person than any other metropolitan area on the continent. Nestled in the eastern foothills of the Pennines, the city is built upon 7 hills, much like Rome, and serves as the confluence for 5 distinct rivers: the Don, Sheaf, Rivellin, Loxley, and Porter. Roughly 1/3 of the city's total area actually lies within the Peak District National Park, making it a unique hybrid of industrial heritage and wild moorland. This topography created the fast-flowing water power necessary for the early steel industry, while the surrounding woodland provided the charcoal that once fueled the region's famous forges. 41. The totemic sculptures of Brimham Rocks. Brimham Rocks is a remarkable collection of giant gritstone formations located on the moorlands of Nidderdale. These bizarre shapes, including the famous idol rock balanced on a tiny base, were created over 320 million years by the erosion of millstone grit. During the last ice age, sand and grit carried by powerful winds sandblasted the rocks, carving out the dramatic curves and hollows seen today. In the 18th century, antiquarians mistakenly believed these formations were the work of druids, leading to names like the Druid's Writing Desk. Geologically, these rocks represent the remnants of a massive river delta that once spanned the region, proving that Yorkshire's geography has shifted from tropical waters to frozen Arctic tundras. 40. The seabird skyscrapers of Flamborough Head. Flamborough Head is a striking white chalk promontory that juts 8 miles into the North Sea, marking the northernmost limit of the English chalk belt. The sheer cliffs, reaching heights of 130 meters at Bempton, provide a vital habitat for over 200,000 nesting seabirds, including the United Kingdom's only mainland colony of gannets. Geologically, the chalk here is harder than the varieties found in southern England, allowing the sea to carve out spectacular arches, stacks, and over 50 sea caves. This headland serves as a critical geographical landmark for maritime navigation and provides a dramatic contrast to the low-lying clay coastline to the south. It is a site of international importance for both its biodiversity and its complex geological history. 39. The ghost of Lake Humber. During the last ice age, the geography of the Vale of York was dominated by a massive proglacial body of water known as Lake Humber. As the Great North Sea ice lobe blocked the escape of meltwater, a vast lake formed, covering much of modern-day Yorkshire and North Lincolnshire. At its peak, the water level reached 30 meters above current sea levels, depositing thick layers of lacustrine clays and sands across the valley floor. When the ice finally retreated and the lake drained, it left behind an exceptionally flat and fertile landscape that became the agricultural heart of the region. Today, the subtle ridges found near York are the ancient shorelines of this long-vanished icy inland sea. 38. The fluid heart of the River Ouse. The River Ouse is the geographical spine of North Yorkshire. formed by the meeting of the River Yore and the Ouse Gill Beck. It is a curiously named river as it changes identity several times before reaching the sea. The Ouse flows through the historic city of York, where it has dictated urban development for 2 millennia. Because the river drains a vast portion of the Pennines and the Yorkshire Dales, it is highly susceptible to flooding during heavy rainfall. This drainage basin is one of the largest in the United Kingdom, eventually feeding into the Humber Estuary. The river's low gradient across the Vale of York means it moves slowly, creating a fertile but watery landscape. 37. The Fortress of Magnesian Limestone. Running north to south through the center of the region is a narrow belt of Magnesian limestone, a rock formation that has shaped Yorkshire's architecture and industry. This Permian Age stone is famed for its durability and creamy color, making it the primary building material for iconic structures such as York Minster and the Houses of Parliament in London. Geographically, this ridge creates a distinct landscape of rolling hills and well-drained soils, which differ significantly from the heavy clays of the surrounding vales. Historically, the belt was a major source of lime for agriculture and flux for the steel industry. Today, it remains a prominent feature of the regional landscape, visible in the many deep quarries and stone-built villages along its length. 36. The hidden valleys of the Wolds. The Yorkshire Wolds form a crescent of rolling chalk hills that stretch from the Humber Bridge to the cliffs of Flamborough. Unlike the rugged Pennines, the Wolds are characterized by deep, dry valleys and wide open plateaus. These valleys were carved by torrential meltwater at the end of the last ice age. But because chalk is porous, the water now drains away underground, leaving the valleys lush and green without active streams. This landscape was famously immortalized in the paintings of David Hockney, who captured the unique light and geometric patterns of the vast agricultural fields. Geographically, the Wolds represent the northernmost extent of the Great English Chalk Ridge, which begins hundreds of miles away on the south coast. 35. The glacial legacy of Lake Semmerwater. Lake Semmerwater is the largest natural body of water in the North Yorkshire Dales, situated at the head of Raydale. Unlike the many man-made reservoirs that dot the region, Semmerwater was formed during the last ice age when a moraine of glacial debris blocked the valley, trapping the water behind it. It covers approximately 100 acres and is a rare example of a natural upland lake in an area dominated by limestone. Local legends suggest the lake submerged an ancient city whose inhabitants refused charity to a traveling beggar, but the geographical truth is far more icy. Today it serves as a tranquil haven for wildlife and a reminder of the powerful glacial forces that sculpted the Dales into their current form. 34. The underground peak of Ingleborough. While Whernside is taller, Ingleborough is geographically more complex. It is a tabletop mountain capped with millstone grit sitting atop a massive platform of carboniferous limestone. This layering creates a unique karst topography where surface streams suddenly vanish into swallow holes, like gaping gill, only to reappear miles away in the valley floor. The mountain serves as a perfect vertical map of the region's sedimentary history. 33. The Spurn Bird Migration Funnel. Because of its unique geographical position, a narrow finger of land poking into the North Sea, Spurn Point acts as a natural funnel for migratory birds. During autumn, birds following the coastline south are trapped by the narrowing land, leading to incredible concentrations of species. It is one of the few places in the UK where geography dictates such a high density of international avian traffic in a single square mile. 32. The Strid. The world's deadliest stretch of river. Located on the river wharf near Bolton Abbey, the Strid is a geographical anomaly. Here, a wide, powerful river is suddenly forced into a narrow, deep chasm only a few feet wide. While it looks like a small leap, the water is turned on its side, creating deep underwater currents and hollowed out pots beneath the surface. It is a prime example of how riverbed narrowing creates extreme hydraulic pressure. 31. The ironstone veins of the Cleveland Hills. The geography of the North York Moors wasn't just scenic, it was industrial. The Cleveland Hills contain massive seams of Jurassic ironstone. This geographical bounty led to the iron rush of the 1850s, turning Middlesbrough from a single farmhouse into a global steel powerhouse. The rugged escarpments still bear the scars of the mines that literally built the Victorian world. 30. The double estuary of the Humber. The Humber is not technically a river. It is a tidal estuary formed by the confluence of the Ouse and the Trent. Geographically, Geographically, it is one of the most powerful engines in the UK, draining 1/5 of the entire freshwater runoff of England. This massive volume of water meets the North Sea tides, creating a highly dynamic environment of shifting sandbanks and heavy siltation that requires constant dredging for shipping. 29. The deserted village of Warham Percy. Nestled within a remote, sheltered valley of the Yorkshire Wolds, Warham Percy stands as the most evocative and thoroughly researched deserted medieval village in Britain. Its gradual abandonment, culminating in the early 16th century, was a direct consequence of radical geographical and economic shifts. As the post-plague era lowered the availability of labor, landowners pivoted from labor-intensive arable grain farming to the more lucrative sheepwalk system, converting communal open fields into enclosed pastures for the wool trade. Today, the site serves as a perfect geographical time capsule. Because the chalky downlands were never plowed over for modern development, the original medieval topography remains etched into the landscape. Visitors can clearly discern the hollow ways, crofts, and longhouse foundations preserved as earthworks in the turf. The skeletal remains of a lost community provide an unparalleled window into how rural Yorkshire life was restructured by the shifting priorities of the English landscape and economy. 28. The thermal springs of Scarborough. Scarborough's status as Britain's first seaside resort was due to a geographical discovery in 1626. Mrs. Elizabeth Farrow noticed acidic water staining the rocks at the foot of the cliffs. This mineral spring, filtered through the local strata, was believed to have medicinal properties. The geography of the fault lines along the coast allowed these mineral-rich waters to reach the surface, birthing the entire concept of the spa holiday. 27. The Great Windsill at High Force. High Force Waterfall stands as a monumental testament to the raw geological power of northern England. While it straddles the boundary with County Durham, the Tees Valley landscape it occupies is inseparable from the historical geography of the North Riding of Yorkshire. The falls are dictated by the presence of the Windsill, a massive subterranean sheet of igneous rock known as quartz dolerite, formed approximately 295 million years ago. This molten rock intruded between existing layers of carboniferous limestone and shale. Because the dolerite is exceptionally hard and crystalline, it resisted the relentless hydraulic action of the River Tees far better than the softer sedimentary rocks beneath it. As the river undercut the weaker limestone and shale, it created a dramatic vertical 21-meter drop. This process, which continues today as the waterfall slowly retreats upstream, provides a rare and visible window into the ancient volcanic activity that once shaped the bedrock of the region. 26. The Magnesian Limestone Gorge at Knaresborough. The River Nid has sculpted a dramatic, steep-sided gorge through the Permian Magnesian limestone at Knaresborough, creating a profound topographical incision in the landscape. This geological formation generates a unique microclimate within the ravine. The towering limestone cliffs act as natural windbreaks, fostering a sheltered, humid environment that supports specialized flora distinct from the exposed, wind-swept plains above. The chemical composition and porous nature of this limestone are central to the area's most famous geographical curiosity, Mother Shipton's Cave and the adjacent petrifying well. As rainwater percolates through the magnesium-rich strata, it becomes heavily saturated with calcium carbonate. When this mineral-laden water drips over objects, ranging from teddy bears to everyday items, it evaporates, leaving behind a hard crust of tufa. Over several months, this process of rapid calcification petrifies the objects, effectively turning them to stone and providing a rare, visible demonstration of accelerated sedimentary deposition in action. 25. The peat bogs of Thorne and Hatfield Moors. These moors are the largest area of lowland raised peat bog in the UK. Geographically, they are the remnants of a vast wetland that once covered the Humber Head levels. Because peat accumulates at a rate of only 1 millimeter per year, these moors represent thousands of years of stored carbon and preserved history, including ancient trackways, sitting just a few meters above sea level. 24. The Whitby Jet Seams. Whitby Jet is a unique geographical treasure embedded within the sheer cliffs of North Yorkshire's coastline. Contrary to popular belief, it is not a mineral but an organic gemstone derived from the fossilized remains of the Araucaria, an ancestor of the modern monkey puzzle tree. Approximately 180 million years ago, during the Jurassic period, these ancient trees were washed into a deep, stagnant marine basin. Upon sinking, they became encased in fine-grained anaerobic mud, now known as the Whitby Mudstone Formation. The absence of oxygen prevented the organic matter from decaying, while the immense weight of overlying sediment exerted extreme pressure over millions of years. This process chemically altered the wood into into a dense, carbon-rich material characterized by its intense black hue and high luster polish. This geological fluke eventually birthed a global industry. During the Victorian era, Whitby jet became a sensation, prized for its lightweight nature and its deep, mournful beauty, forever linking Yorkshire's deep-time botany with British cultural history. 23. The rain shadow of the Pennines. Yorkshire's weather is a direct result of its geography. The Pennine Hills force moist air from the Atlantic to rise and cool, orographic lift, causing heavy rain on the western slopes. By the time the air reaches the Vale of York, it is much drier. This rain shadow effect explains why Manchester is famously wet, while York is relatively dry, despite being on similar latitudes. 22. The alum quarries of Ravenscar. The cliffs at Ravenscar were once the site of a massive chemical industry. Geologically, the Upper Lias shales found here contain the minerals necessary to create alum, which was essential for fixing dyes in the textile industry. The process involved moving millions of tons of shale and human urine to extract the chemical, leaving behind the dramatic, scarred moonscape visible on the coast today. 21. The U-shaped glory of Monsall Dale. Deep within the Yorkshire bordering reaches of the Peak District, valleys such as Monsall Dale serve as spectacular textbooks of glacial geomorphology. These landscapes exhibit the classic U-shaped profile, a signature left behind by the colossal glaciers of the last ice age. Unlike the narrow, V-shaped valleys typically incised by the vertical erosion of rivers, these troughs were forged by the sheer weight and abrasive power of advancing ice sheets. As these frozen rivers moved through the landscape, they acted as gargantuan rafts, grinding down the valley floors into wide, flat plains while oversteepening the adjacent hillsides into near-vertical cliffs. This dramatic topographical contrast creates the quintessential Dales aesthetic, a serene, expansive valley floor punctuated by sudden, towering limestone scars. This transition from flat pasture to rugged height highlights the immense kinetic energy of the Pleistocene epoch, where ice redefined the region's bedrock into the dramatic corridors we navigate today. 20. The tectonic fault of the Giggleswick Scar. The Giggleswick Scar is a prominent limestone cliff that marks the line of the Craven Fault. This is a major break in the Earth's crust, where the rocks to the south have dropped down significantly compared to those to the north. It is a rare place where you can stand on a road and see the physical evidence of a massive tectonic shift that occurred over 300 million years ago. 19. The deepest mine in Europe, Bolby. On the edge of the North York Moors lies Bolby Mine. Geographically, it is unique for its depth, reaching 1,400 meters underground. It mines polyhalite and potash from ancient Permian seabeds. Because it is so deep and shielded from cosmic radiation by the Yorkshire Rock, it also houses a world-class dark matter research laboratory, using the county's geography to study the secrets of the universe. 18. The Yorkshire Diamond, the Rhubarb Triangle. The 9-square-mile area between Wakefield, Morley, and Rothwell is geographically perfect for rhubarb. The cold winters, which trigger the plant's growth, and the heavy, moisture-retentive clay soil created the Rhubarb Triangle. The proximity to coal mines, for heating the forcing sheds, and the rail lines to London made this a global hub for the vegetable. 17. The submerged forests of Redcar. At low tide on the beaches of Redcar, the remains of a 7,000-year-old forest are sometimes revealed. This is a geographical window into a time when the North Sea was a vast plain known as Doggerland, which once connected Britain to mainland Europe. The preserved birch, oak, and hazel stumps are rooted in a layer of peat, proving that the Yorkshire coastline was once miles further out to sea before post-glacial sea levels rose. 16. The Gap of the Aire Valley. The Aire Gap is one of the most significant geographical breaks in the Pennines. It is a low-lying pass created by a combination of a geological fault and glacial erosion. This gap provided the only easy east-west route for canal builders and later railway engineers, connecting the industrial heart of Leeds and Bradford to the Lancashire coast without crossing high mountain passes. 15. The deepest lake in the Dales, Malham Tarn. Sitting at 377 meters above sea level, Malham Tarn is one of only 2 natural lakes in the Yorkshire Dales. Geographically, it is a miracle. It sits on a bed of Silurian slate that was pushed up through the limestone. Because slate is impermeable, it holds water, whereas the surrounding limestone would typically allow it to drain away. This creates a unique upland wetland ecosystem. 14. The triple point of Penny Ghent. Penny Ghent serves as a major hydrological triple point. Rain falling on its slopes can drain into three different river systems: the Ribble, flowing west to the Irish Sea, and the Wharfe or the Eire, both flowing east to the North Sea via the Ouse. Its distinctive crouching lion shape is the result of layered limestone and gritstone eroding at different rates. 13. The inverted geography of the Hull River. The River Hull is a unique chalk stream that actually flows through a landscape that is often lower than the river itself. Because the surrounding land in the Hull Valley is reclaimed marshland, the river is heavily embanked. This geographical setup means that during high tides or heavy rains, the river is a constant flood risk to the city of Hull, which sits largely below the high tide level of the adjacent Humber Estuary. 12. The deserted peaks of the Howgill Fells. Note, located in the West Riding/Yorkshire Dales National Park. Often described by Alfred Wainwright as looking like a herd of sleeping elephants, the Howgill Fells are geologically distinct from the rest of the Dales. They are made of older, harder Silurian rocks rather than Carboniferous limestone. This results in smooth, grass-covered slopes and deep, narrow gills, valleys, without the rocky outcrops common in the nearby Dales. 11. The Whale of Flamborough, the Selwick's Bay Fault. At Selwick's Bay, the violent history of the Earth's crustal movements is laid bare in the spectacular white cliffs of Flamborough Head. This site is home to a massive geological fault where tectonic forces have visibly displaced thick layers of Upper Cretaceous chalk. Over millennia, the relentless energy of the North Sea has exploited these structural weaknesses, carving out a cavernous sea cave and a majestic chalk stack known locally as Adam. Beyond the dramatic erosion, Selwick's Bay is renowned as one of the premier locations in the United Kingdom to witness the phenomenon of folding. Here, the normally horizontal strata have been buckled and warped into intricate zigzags and curves, a result of the rock being literally bent by immense tectonic pressure during the Alpine orogeny. This process transformed brittle chalk into a fluid-like display of geological power, providing a rare, tangible link between the tranquil Yorkshire coast and the colossal mountain-building events of the distant past. Don't forget to subscribe and like to keep learning amazing facts about each province of our beautiful country. 10. The glacial delta of the Pickering Vale. The Vale of Pickering was once the site of a massive glacial lake, Lake Pickering. When the ice blocked the natural drainage to the sea at Filey, the water was forced to cut a new path, creating the dramatic Kirkham Gorge. This geographical rerouting changed the entire drainage system of North Yorkshire, turning what was once a coastal river system into an inland basin. 9. The hidden coal seams of Selby. While popular perception often anchors Yorkshire's mining heritage within the rugged hills of South Yorkshire, one of the most significant geographical discoveries of the 20th century lay hidden beneath the serene, flat agricultural landscape of the Vale of York. The Selby coalfield, identified in the 1960s, represented a massive concealed deposit that challenged traditional geological expectations. Unlike the exposed coal measures further south, these seams were buried deep beneath the Earth's surface, shielded by hundreds of meters of Permian and Triassic water-bearing sandstone. Extracting this wealth required groundbreaking engineering and specialized sinking techniques, such as ground freezing, to penetrate the unstable, saturated strata without flooding the shafts. This ambitious project proved that Yorkshire's industrial potential was not merely a product of its visible topography, but was intricately woven into the complex, hidden layers of its deep geological strata. The field eventually became one of the most advanced deep mining complexes in the world, marking a final, sophisticated chapter in the region's long relationship with fossil fuels. 8. The Boiling Springs of Harrogate. Harrogate's international reputation as a premier spa destination is rooted in a rare geological phenomenon known as the Harrogate anticline. This upward arch-like fold in the Earth's crust brought various layers of rock, ranging from Carboniferous limestone to shale, closer to the surface in a concentrated area. As a result, 88 distinct mineral springs emerge within a remarkably small geographical footprint, primarily located in the low Harrogate Valley. These springs are categorized into two main types: chalybeate, iron-rich, and sulfur. The sulfur water is particularly notable. It originates from deep underground, where it reacts with iron pyrites and organic matter in the shale to pick up its characteristic minerals and gases. Because the local fault lines and the anticline structure allow water to bypass standard filtration from different depths and strata, Harrogate possesses the most varied spa geography in Europe. This complex hydrogeology provided the foundation for the town's town's historic pump rooms and its enduring legacy of hydrotherapy. 7. The natural harbor of Whitby. Whitby's existence as a major port is due to the River Esk, the only river in the North York Moors that flows directly into the North Sea. The geography of the Esk Valley provided a natural breach in the high cliffs, creating a sheltered deep-water harbor that became the base for Captain Cook's voyages and a world-renowned whaling fleet. 6. The Brimham of the South, Roche Abbey. The geography of South Yorkshire is punctuated by the Roche Abbey Fault. Here, the Magnesian limestone forms a dramatic natural screen. The Cistercian monks chose this site specifically because the geography provided both the building stone, limestone, and a natural valley, the Lawton Pond, for their water needs, blending geology with medieval architecture. 5. The highest inn in Great Britain. The Tan Hill Inn sits at an elevation of 528 meters, 1,732 feet, on the lonely moors of Swaledale. Its geography is its destiny. It was built there to serve the coal miners who worked the shallow bell pits in the surrounding moorland. It remains a testament to the high-altitude industrial history of the Pennines, where men lived and worked in some of the harshest weather conditions in England. 4. The Giant Staircase of Thornton le Dale. This village sits on the Tabular Hills, a geographical formation where Jurassic limestone layers create flat-topped hills with steep southern faces. The Thornton Beck flows through the village, having emerged from the limestone of the moors above. This creates a dip-slope geography that makes the village one of the most photographed and topographically distinct in the region. 3. The Great S Bend of the River Don. The geography of Sheffield was transformed by the loop of the River Don. In the industrial era, the river's path was straightened and culverted to make room for massive steel works like Kelham Island. This geographical manipulation allowed Sheffield to become a global city, but it also created the modern challenges of urban flash flooding that the city manages today. 2. The Lost Port of Ravenspurn. Ravenspurn was once a preeminent Yorkshire port and a vital maritime hub located near the tip of Spurn Point. Its historical significance was cemented in 1399 when Henry IV landed there to reclaim his kingdom. Yet its geographical fate was already being sealed by the relentless forces of the North Sea. The town's location on the Holderness coast placed it at the mercy of one of the fastest eroding shorelines in Europe. This region is composed of soft glacial till, a material that offers almost no resistance to powerful tidal surges. Consequently, the very geography that provided Ravenspurn with its strategic maritime advantage led to its total annihilation. By the 19th century, the town had been entirely swallowed by the waves, leaving no physical trace of its former grandeur. It serves as a haunting reminder that Yorkshire's map is a fluid document, constantly being rewritten by the sea, where yesterday's thriving ports become today's underwater ghost stories. 1. The center of the North. The Vale of York. The Vale of York serves as the definitive geographical heart of the region, functioning as a vast, low-lying syncline that separates the rugged Pennine uplands to the west from the rolling chalk hills of the Wolds to the east. This fertile expanse was fundamentally shaped during the last ice age. As retreating glaciers stalled, they left behind the terminal moraines of York and Escrick, which acted as natural dams. These barriers created the prehistoric Lake Humber, a massive body of meltwater that eventually deposited thick layers of lacustrine clays and rich alluvial silts across the valley floor. Today, this specific geological legacy provides some of the most productive agricultural land in Europe, characterized by its remarkably flat horizon and deep, nutrient-dense soils. Historically, this corridor has acted as the anchor of Yorkshire, offering the essential flat terrain and natural resources that facilitated the development of major transport arteries and the eventual rise of the county as an industrial and agricultural powerhouse. After discovering these previously unknown geographical secrets about Yorkshire and Humber, tell us, which one did you like best, or which one surprised you the most? Leave a comment and let's see how many of us agree. If you think we missed something or want to add something, we'd love to know. Your comments help us improve each video. And speaking of videos, there's one more video on screen, so you can continue exploring the geography of our beautiful country. But before you go, don't forget to subscribe and like so we can keep learning together. See you in the next video.